Welcome to this episode of the FANMEN podcast. I'm DJ Gove.
Chris Davis.
I'm Sean Hogarty.
He's giggling already.
I've just for the first time ever. I mean, we always, you always start with hello, and it's other than the one time that Stephen Griss did it, but this is the first time while doing it at my house instead of the traditional Shay Davis, and we sit on a soft couch here. But while you said hello, you elevated off the couch, and it was just funny.
Yeah, you were very animated.
Yeah, hello, boing.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
You're kind of a weeble.
I am kind
You're
of a
less of a weeble than you
Weeble-ish.
used to be, though. That's pretty cool.
Some people always had like the body mistake, like I want to look like Superman. I was like, no, I want to look like a Little Tykes figure.
When were weebles? Right?
80s.
I remember having Weebles. I might be even be earlier than that. I remember having.
Yeah,
Weebles
it had to be. It had to be.
Yeah.
They had to at least exist in like mid to late 70s. Because I remember going to my great grandmother's house in Columbus, and she saved up green stamps from like the drugstore.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And she bought me a Weebles haunted house, which was like a huge thing.
Jesus.
And you could put a Weeble on top, and and I hadn't thought about this in years until you looked like a Weeble sitting next to me. Or no, you said Weebles.
Sure, we had some kind of structure, but I remember having the little Weebles.
They were
like
awesome.
The Weeble family.
Do you still have that haunted house in the box by chance? Because it's probably worth a fucking fortune.
You would think so, but I bet if we looked it up, it's now I want to look it up. Like look up Weeble haunted house.
I'm looking.
Yeah. All
Usually,
right,
when you have the play sets is where the money comes in.
Yeah. No, I mean I always played with my stuff. I was not a collector.
You were a horrible child.
But yeah, Weebles. Though think about it nowadays. Who's going to play with a freaking plastic egg
That's true.
that has a weight in the bottom?
They still sell them.
They do?
The Treehouse playset. Yeah, you can buy them on Amazon.
Oh well, never mind then.
I'm not buying Weebles.
Good thing you enjoyed your childhood.
I'm one of those awful
Though if they made
parents
Funko
DJ cringes at. I let my kid open everything. Go play with it.
I do too.
Why not?
She actually at one point in time she started to leave her stuff sealed back in the day.
No, DJ's okay with
never
opening
corrected
things.
behavior.
That's why DJ has two of
So
everything.
you buy a double.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for the
Okay, so yeah.
DJ on the couch Tom Cruise moment.
There we go.
Ooh, hello.
Oh God, I just had this horrible visual of him sliding in on his underwear.
Oh no!
I know. Hey,
Risky DJ business.
Risky DJ business. Yes. You can find the vintage Weebles haunted house for $20 on eBay or $215 on Etsy. Go figure.
Interesting.
Etsy is somebody making
I
one
don't-
from scratch.
Oh snap! Here's one in the box. 1976.
Like
How much?
$20?
No, not $20.
Oh, the year 1976.
Anywhere from $250 to $350.
100?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not paying that much. I don't even
Yeah.
want it. Though I want to look at. I will look at pictures of it. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole.
That is neat.
Yeah. So hello, DJ.
So back to the start of the show.
See if we can get him to rise off the couch again.
I can do that. I'll prop up a couple times for you. So.
He did eat Taco Bell for lunch.
No, actually,
Oh, Jesus.
No, he didn't. I just like
No.
that. Yeah.
now I want Taco Bell. How's everyone's week?
Mine has
First.
sucked
Yeah.
buttocks.
Well, I know yours just sucks. So
I've been going through, Chris said earlier, I think I've cursed myself with the travel. I had an extreme travel trip come up out of nowhere. I'm about to leave for a week, 12-hour flights to someplace very, very hot. And
Phoenix?
no.
Parts unknown.
Yeah, parts unknown. But
Add a warrior for me.
but it will be it should be good and cool, but scrambling to prep for it has been a pain in the butt, and it's just made everything a freaking nightmare. But to make it better, the summer traffic fuckery honestly has started.
Oh yeah.
Driving home
Oh, yeah.
today, Friday, Cape traffic,
Ugh.
which is
God bless 495.
right, which is way, way far away from where I work, but
Yeah.
unfortunately not far away from where I live, destroys everything.
It does.
I ended up,
Cape and Maine.
right, I drove about 30-ish, 35-ish miles, almost the straight line home, which is actually the worst possible traffic path.
Yep.
90 minutes or so for
That's-
30 some miles.
Usually takes me about 20 minutes to get down here,
Yeah.
and it was about 45 today.
Yeah. That's
And
just,
it's mostly highway.
Because most of the kids
Yeah.
are out of school this week.
Everybody is
yeah.
495.
It's summer
Route
season.
9,
Summer.
Pike.
summer.
I fucking hate summer.
So I haven't bought anything, but I did want to something comics related kind of came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's that almost never happens for me. I saw a trailer of a movie, The Kitchen, with Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and
I remember them talking about this after
Yes.
that it was going to be
Elizabeth from Handmaid's Tale and Mad Men.
made. Yeah.
I don't
Not
know her
Elizabeth.
name.
It's
No, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, Elizabeth Moss.
oh yeah, Elizabeth Moss. So the three of them, and it's three kind of mob wives in 70s Hell's Kitchen,
Yep.
whose husbands go away and the mob isn't taking care of them good enough, and so they decide to take over Hell's Kitchen. So that's based on a
Vertigo book?
Vertigo book, an eight issue miniseries that I happen to have collected. And so
So when's it going on eBay?
Sell.
So yeah, so anyway, it's spiked in value. I have something that I may get rid of. So that's
Nice.
kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
Of course, what's actually going to happen is I'm going to hold on to it, and then the movie will come out, and it'll be okay, but it's not going to bump up the comics any. Eventually, it'll go
And
back.
the value of
yeah,
stock
and
yeah.
but it's still kind of cool. And I have like the rare, I have 2 copies of number 1 in good shape. I've got the 1 in 10 variant for number 1, and one of my copies of number 1 is signed by artist and co-writer Ming Doyle. So
Very cool.
Nice.
yeah, so
It is nice when they pull the little like short runs and one-offs and stuff and do
Yeah.
movies out of them. It's always nice.
Yeah, they announced that, a couple of years ago, right? I remember the conversation happening that it was going to be made into
So
a
long
movie.
ago that I completely forgot about it until I saw the trailer. I was like, oh yeah,
It
that's
took
cool.
me a second after he mentioned it. I'm like, why does that ring a bell?
Yeah. Nice.
yeah.
So yeah, same thing. I didn't really do any shopping
I
this week.
bought stuff, but nothing fun. It's
nothing
stuff for the house.
Yeah.
Everything
you're
is
buying house
focused on
stuff. Yeah.
finishing the house right now.
So let's jump
Yeah.
right into news then. So you mentioned
Well, wait, no, I one other thing.
Oh,
Okay.
he's looking
So
at me.
Johnny Mangual, one of the owners of the Hall of Comics, our
Yes.
our friends in Southborough, Massachusetts. He sent me a message just a couple hours ago. That's Entertainment in Worcester has a copy of Batman 134, which is the Rainbow Creature. It's a Silver Age Batman, and they have a nice price of it. So that's pretty cool. So I think I'm going to bribe DJ to get it, and by bribe,
Get it to stick him in his box and stuff. You know?
Yeah, no, I can. I'll go take a look at it for you. I gotta go tomorrow. I gotta pick up. I have some stuff in my box there still. I still have some. I cut it off, but I still have some issues of Power Rangers in there.
Nice.
So the comics get so out of control.
Very
so.
cool.
Okay, so now back to news.
Yeah, what's
So
up in the
now,
news?
so now we had the trailer for The Kitchen come out, but this one's probably near and dear to both you guys. Is the first trailer for Doctor Sleep came out.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So anyone that doesn't know what Doctor Sleep is, like me, I didn't really know till the movie came out.
Danny
Dr.
Torrance.
It's grown-up Danny from The Shining.
Yep. It's, you take a shot at it, Chris. Both of us
What are
are
we-
King fans. The Shining.
Massive King fans, massive Shining fans. You're moving forward 30
years.
35
years,
years,
something like
probably
that,
about 30
yeah.
years
Yeah.
into the future.
Shining was
Danny's-
79, maybe?
yeah.
So actually, that's 40.
If they're keeping true to the
Yeah.
timeline, you're 40 years.
Yeah.
Although
But
he
McGregor
looks a little
looked 50,
younger
yeah.
than that. Yeah,
That's why I'm thinking
he
late
looks
30s.
young in the trailer, but it's essentially Danny's moved on with his life. He's a nurse
hmm
in a
I think it's
an
old
assisted
age
living
home. Yeah.
kind of facility.
I thought it was in Maine, which would make sense. Something I read in the synopsis makes it sound like he's in New Jersey. I don't know whether. So I'm.
I thought it was in Maine. I thought it was
Yeah.
northeast somewhere. I'd have to go back. It's been a few years since I read the book. But it essentially, he finds the premise of it is he connects with and finds a child like him,
hmm
another with the shine.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, I don't want to give away too much of the story,
But it's continuation
it's
of
the
his
interconnected world off of
story.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I remember the book Doctor Sleep came out 5-6 years ago, maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah, someone, yeah. And that was,
yeah.
Oh, it's that new?
Yeah.
it's very
it's-
new.
Yeah.
And when it came
Oh.
out, it popped big.
Yeah. And I
It's-
I haven't been reading books for the much, so I listened to audiobook. You probably
I
read
actually
it.
read it, yeah.
Yeah. But just I don't think when I initially listened to it, I'm not sure I knew that it was a sequel to The Shining. So I'm just listening to it, and it's and it was clear, but just I mean, I love his writing in books universally. But
there's, without fail.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it
few.
was really interesting. Totally different. Like it's in the same universe, same character, but it's its own completely unique story. A little road trippy, little
you get a little bit of everything. Broken adult Danny.
Yeah,
that's dealing with carrying this weight around for his entire life.
And if I recall correctly, the reason he's called Dr. Sleep is interesting from a character perspective.
It is, yeah. I don't want to spoil it.
But
no, that's something I knew it was a sequel to The Shining when it was coming out, and that's something that you're treading on hallowed ground.
Yeah.
So anytime after that much and that many years has passed.
Well, that's one of the interesting points of this too, is the trailer makes it clear, even to the uninitiated. Well, unless you're completely cold, it's obvious that the movie is a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah,
so it's right.
You have your one beat that everybody knows.
They do the trike on the carpet.
Yeah.
They do the twins. They do the elevator.
Old lady in
the red rum in the door.
They do the red rum
young lady
first, right?
Yeah.
Red rum's first.
Red rum's all over
bed,
the place.
He sees it on the wall.
And they have the door.
And then it's everything else seems to come after the room.
Room 237 and all these things. But that's an interesting thing because the book and Kubrick's movie, The Shining, have some significant differences. And a lot
King
of people
hate that movie.
It's his least favorite.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say he hates it, but it really is not.
Kubrick did a lot of stuff that kind of chapped his ass at the time.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I mean, that said, the movie's fantastic in a zillion different ways. Yeah, but the trailer goes all in on those relations, but also it's clear that they've reshot. So they have to be doing a lot in flashback or other things that in the book, I don't think we got that much reach back into The Shining because you're able to read the character's thoughts. And, I don't whereas it looks to me like in the movie,
to visualize,
they're having to
visualize
give you his past.
And unless they went back and just recreated some Shining beats for the marketing.
For the trailer?
No, it's going to be interesting because that's one of those, you didn't have to be a King fan to be a Shining fan.
No, because I love that movie.
That is just ingrained in pop culture. Yeah. And there's so many beats in this trailer. Mm-hmm. Danny looking through the door.
Yeah, that was
the axe destroyed door.
That was pretty.
Just him popping out, and
so he goes back to the hotel.
Jack on the other side.
Yeah,
it's things like that. I do remember there is some bounce back to the Overlook.
Yeah, I have not. I mean, I listened to that book, and my memory sucks so much that all I remember is loving it, and so I'm torn as to does that mean I'm going to re-listen to the book? Or am I going to rewatch the movie? Right? What am I going to do to prepare?
Yes, to all of it.
Yeah. Whereas I'm not sure I'm going to do any of that. I like going into things stupid, both because it makes me sound like a more sophisticated, open mind. But really, it's just I'm really lazy.
When does that come out? Is it?
It's November 8th.
November.
Yeah, the day before my birthday.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You and Heather are like a week apart. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if maybe we should do the six of us and take the wives to see that when it comes out. Because my wife always complains I don't take her to horror movies, so she'd probably want to go see it.
I'm always up for trying. The scheduling is the most.
We'll try to figure it out. So.
Yeah,
maybe do like a Shining night, a month before or something like that. Watch The Shining again.
Yeah, that's cool. Definitely sounds good.
Awesome. So that was like the only big trailer. There was a second trailer for Frozen that came out. That's not something we really covered.
Frozen 2?
Yeah, Frozen 2. I
didn't see that.
Yeah.
They should just flat out call it that.
Why not?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I would want to see the movie if they called it that. I could care less.
Too Frozen, Too Furious?
That'd be the best one. Yeah. That'd be the best one. Or Frozen 2, Secret of the Ooze might be a good one. So, so that's coming out. So one other thing that's newsworthy that we hinted to last week, that I wanted to say for this week because I think it's a bigger issue and it goes into the subject matter. I think a little bit that Chris brought up for today, so it's going to kind of lead into it. The way Warner Brothers treated this whole debacle with Swamp Thing.
Right.
So for people that don't know, on the DC Universe app, they're doing some live action TV shows.
Yep.
The third one was Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about a couple times. We're all huge fans of the character Swamp Thing. That Alan Moore runs, probably one of the best runs in the history of comics.
Mhm.
I think I have a respect for it. I have very little knowledge. I wouldn't describe myself.
I
as a
remember
huge
reading
fan.
it as a kid.
It's a plant. Okay, so me,
Yeah, no, I know.
it's-
I'm just saying. I'm
Okay.
less
Have you never read it?
knowledgeable. I don't deserve. I don't think I've read much of it. I probably read individual issues.
You'll go back. It is to the Swamp Thing what Dark Knight is to
yeah.
Batman. It's
was
it's your
there-
first adult take on it. It's a completely different psychological.
It took
take
it took a
on Swamp Thing.
throwaway like horror book kind of or
Was there a
creepy
little
book
bit of
there.
Swamp Thing in the Sandman run at one point?
I don't know.
Is there
like
intersection?
Constantine, Swamp Thing.
I know
There's
some
definite Constantine
Constantine's
Swamp Thing.
yep because of
crossover.
Justice League Dark, and then Swamp Thing really crossed over to the
But
everything else with
the
like
whole love
Brightest Day.
story between Abby and
Yeah.
I mean it's so worth a read.
I've
It's
heard
insane.
way more commentary and love about that run than
If
I've
they-
actually read.
it's
right.
really
I
good.
need them to release that run in an absolute format.
Ooh,
It's just
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
It is so good.
and they might because I mean so far we're the third episode just dropped last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only seen the first two. I haven't watched 3 yet because I usually watch on the weekend. People love this show.
It's beautiful.
It's phenomenal. He like Derek Mears, the guy who played the newer Jason,
Mhm.
was also in. He does some. He's one of these guys that like anytime they need a big guy in a costume, they put Derek Mears in it.
Did you see he showed up at a Fat Man the week before
Yep.
Swamp Thing dropped, and they
no
had
one
no
even kn-
idea?
yeah.
He was in the audience. And
No
they
one
just
knows what
missed
he
the
looks like.
Oh
opportunity.
yeah, I heard that.
I met him at a con they do locally called Rock and Shock. My friend Liana works at it.
Over at,
he needed help at the
DCU?
center, at the
Yeah.
DCU, and they were short on volunteers. She's like, hey, you work cons? You want to come work with it? I'm like, yeah, I'll come help you. No problem. Wicked nice guy. You're hard to tell he plays a serial killer in a hockey mask.
Some of my favorite times have been at horror cons.
They do have some cool.
It's a
ones.
better group of people.
Yeah,
You don't have the militant fanboys.
you don't get the cosplay people. and
It's
shit.
it's different.
So this show came out. Before the show was released, you got wind that they kicked it back from 13 to 11 episodes.
Right.
No one really knew why. After the first episode, they straight up just shit canned it. And there's a couple reasons for what's come out. Number one is there's rumors, which I'm not happy about, that they're going to shit can the entire DCU app.
Which is completely predictable one
They're
way or
going
the
to roll it
other.
into the
They're going
larger
to roll it
Warner
into
Brothers app.
AT&T wants to do a Warner Brothers one. What they're saying now is the only thing that's going to survive from the DC app is going to be Titans. Everything else is going to get
So the Harley Quinn cartoon is going to be a one and done as well.
one and done. Stargirl might not even get finished, they're saying now, which is going to be great. It means we're going to have another like 8 months of this friggin' thing with no content on it. So it's going to be,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a shit show. Which also means Doom Patrol might not survive into a season 2, which is a goddamn shame because that show was really good too.
Yeah, that's
But there's another reason for it too. On top of Warner AT&T just being absolute fucking assholes about it.
I love DJ's deep grasp of business and how
yeah.
this works.
Yeah.
No, it's I want stuff, you give it to me, I give you money. That's the way it works.
Yeah, but you don't give them enough money to
Yeah.
justify making the show.
No, well, maybe if their cell phone service was better. So they had a problem with the state of North Carolina. It looks like they DC filed their rebate paperwork, and this whole thing I understand. So they made the show. North Carolina promised them a $40 million rebate
Mhm.
or tax credit, whatever, from the
Tax
show.
credit. Yeah.
Yeah, however they
and-
do it.
Yeah, they give tax credits and then you can sell the credits,
Yeah, exactly.
make money for like 75 cents on the dollar or something.
Yeah, something like that. So I guess somewhere with the state, someone filed something wrong or not on time or something. So rumors is on North Carolina's end, which I don't know how this works, but so Warner.
That seems like it can't be on the state's end because
No, it's gotta be something that
it's got to
their
be some
paperwork
business
filed.
person.
But-
And it's
yeah.
it's tough that there was that tight of a window too.
Yeah,
These things usually stay open for years.
yeah. So anyway, so long story short, some boring people. Warner Brothers had to come 28 million more out of pocket to finish the show up.
Yeah,
Which kind of explains that's a lot of fucking money for a TV show, especially a TV show where you're not selling 30-second Pepsi and Dorito ads throughout it.
Well, and
Yeah.
you're on a niche app as well.
Correct.
You don't have the reach of a Netflix.
And it's not Batman or Wonder Woman, it's Swamp Thing.
That's, I mean, it'll all come back to subscriber count, and they don't
Yeah.
need it as a lost leader. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm sure they get a little spooked with the character too because it's not as well known of a character.
It's well, since we're talking about people just sabotaging properties,
Yeah.
Mhm.
we might as well touch on the Dark Phoenix rumors and everything
Yes.
that came out this week.
I
Oh, yes.
heard any of this.
So
Okay.
this is as you know, DJ's been harping on this colossal shit show for the last 6 months. It seems like it's just going to be steaming hot pile of garbage. Word came out this week that not only was there a longer, better cut, but Disney had them through Fox, because the deal wasn't done yet.
Right.
Had them cut out 20 to 30 minutes, depending on which story you read, that would have made a vastly different, much better movie, because they didn't want this competing with Captain Marvel in any way, shape, or form. They wanted Brie Larson as the new female face,
and not Jean Grey.
and they didn't want this to be. They didn't want the movie to be good.
Is that is that possibly true? I mean, that honestly,
I don't think it would have been.
Sounds like something concocted by folks who are ashamed of the shit product they put out, right? If that's true, then show me that cut on on disc.
You'll never see.
It's
the
almost
cut.
it's
like the Snyder cut,
or even better. Probably a better example is the what's his name, Trask, whatever, the guy who did the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh yeah.
I had all this stuff was gonna be totally. That's not my movie. Why? Because it fucking sucked. It's not your movie.
Yeah, I mean
it's trash.
It's plausible. It's just
I'm sure, because they went in and did reshoots towards the end.
Yeah, no, and Disney at its core is a marketing company.
Correct.
They had that Captain Marvel thing planned out years in advance, even though that movie wasn't very good.
It made $1 billion.
And exactly.
That's all they care about.
So that's the face of your next phase.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very interested in the coming years to see,
Yeah, I think
you can make your plans and make your market schemes.
Yeah,
but
show me what happens after Downey Jr.'s not involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it
There's
does.
your backbone.
So we talked about it before, and it was out there, and you kind of knew it was going to happen because of the way they're drawing the books. It looks like you are going to get John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as the Storms.
Oh, really?
Or as the Reeves, the Richards. I mean, Kim Takte as the lead for the Fantastic Four.
I don't know anything about Fantastic Four, but I'm in.
It seems like things are in flux at Marvel right now. Ant-Man 3 is just a non-starter at this point.
Yeah.
They built up that whole thing to the next story, and Paul Rudd was just on a show this past week when they were asking about him. He has no clue.
Yeah.
It's just kind of DOA right now.
Well, and another thing we've talked about, and I say like we're ahead of the curve or nothing on this, but
yeah, we are.
You're going to have a huge fucking problem once you retire out all these original Avengers. You have a huge gaping hole to fill now.
We've covered this before.
Yes.
We apologize. Sean is tired and cranky.
Yes. And what I'm saying is it's going to be a problem.
As opposed to just normal cranky.
Yeah, as opposed to just normal cranky.
It's going to be a problem. Your next, so this is all going to lead into stuff. So you have TV shows getting canceled, movies getting recut.
Cats and dogs sleeping together. Mass hysteria.
It's living together, by the way.
Living together, yeah.
So
I rebooted it, DJ.
Oh, okay. And now you have a cinematic universe, which has been the backbone for a rise in comic book issues and comic book publishing and all that stuff.
Yep.
That
dovetails nicely into our topic.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is not going to, I'm not going to say it's going to disappear, but this cinematic universe is not going to sustain this $1 billion per movie thing. And it's going to bottom out.
Bad?
So what's that going to do to the books? That's the topic for today. Is what's going on in the world of actual comic books?
So what is your view on where we are with the world?
Well, let's just go with facts, because we actually have a couple of those this week. This is a FANMEN first. I found facts.
I'm confused that DJ has facts.
I do.
Wait,
Fact.
Research and preparation?
Facts.
All
kind of
crap is this?
Suck.
No, please, you have the floor. I'm going to shut up because I'm fascinated by this.
So between 2017 and 2018, there was a massive drop in comic book sales.
Yeah.
Right now, from 2018 to 2019, the retailers that were surveyed for this article have only seen about a 1% drop in overall sales. However, the bulk of these sales are not coming from your monthly subscription books anymore. They're all coming from trades.
Really?
Yes. People who see these movies want to go back and read the trades for them.
And the one I read some of the same thread. The one interesting caveat is they're only surveying stores that were open in both years. That doesn't take into account it's almost like 20% of mom and pop comic shops have closed.
Yeah, have closed.
Right.
So...
So the market changes related to that are hidden in this particular stat.
Yeah. So you have
Exactly. So the numbers are much higher
Yeah.
because you lost 20% of your shops.
correct. And there's
Oh
reasons.
wait, that's not per store. So overall, the remaining stores
These are just ones that were
seeing
surveyed.
These are just the
significantly more.
surveyed stores. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just ones
and
that
we
were
probably
open.
should talk to some people that we know that own comic book stores. It would have been helpful, but that's okay. We figured this stuff
I'd
out
love
a
to
day.
get
Yeah,
those.
actually-
we talked to them anecdotally.
Yeah, but we
Um,
should do a little comic biz
I'd
interview.
love to bring the
Yeah.
guys on one day. But they even say if you talk to John and Jake, they're ordering a lot more for the haul, a lot less of the new titles. And you can see it in the store itself, right?
But they're buying
That
more
sec-
collections, it seems.
They're buying more collections. They're focusing more on your high dollar, older, golden, silver age books
Yeah.
because they're getting stuck. Before there was a system where you could return the books.
Yeah.
That's
Now
fine
the numbers are so far down. You want that 1 in 50 variant. You're buying 50 of the.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's
Whereas
get,
the
Getting
fact
cover.
so let's get
is,
to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to that. So there's a couple big problems I get being able to research about why this is happening. So number one is, like I said, Iron Man came out, and all these Marvel movies started, and you'd think these younger kids, would want to get into the comic books. So Marvel started pumping out crossovers, variant covers, number ones. It seems like they reboot the number ones every year or
Once
whatever.
a year. Yeah.
So anytime there's a movie out, there's some number ones on the shelves.
They start like
You related
And then
to the
if there's
characters.
preludes to whatever
Yep.
that movie
and then
is. And
we start, we've talked about, they start drawing Captain Marvel to look like Brie Larson and all this stuff. And Marvel's also been very much, we need to have more girl characters. Let's make Thor a girl. Okay, let's make Iron Man a 15-year-old black girl. Let's make Mrs. Marvel, a different race. And they've been real big on that train too, trying to like diversify everything.
Yeah.
And what they do is they just keep rolling out, here's a girl version of this character. She gets a number one, she gets variants, she gets a crossover. But the other one, the male Iron Man, Tony Stark, give him the number one, some chrome covers, all this shit. And they're not selling. And on top of not selling, and this has come from three people who've been reading books for combined probably 80 years,
Mhm.
the books are fucking
least,
horrible.
yeah.
They're trash. The stories are so like unoriginal and horrible, and they're not good books. And DC does the same thing. DC had the New 52. New 52 started off selling really well.
Yeah, but that was 8 years ago.
I know, it was a long time ago.
we've had another.
And then they went to
Like
Rebirth.
7.5 years ago.
But so New 52 came out, sold really well. Some number ones and first the first dozen New 52 books are worth some insane money because DC didn't realize how Batgirl number one. No one knew how well that book was going to sell at first.
Yeah.
Very low print runs, and
And how much of that has to do with the artist that was involved in that?
possibly.
Yeah,
but
it was,
they sold the book.
Was that cover Adam
Hughes.
Hughes?
That was a Hughes cover.
Green Arrow, they had to do, I think, 3 printings for number one because they just couldn't keep the thing in stock. Flash sold out. So they did really well. When they got to Rebirth, because they decided to kibosh the New 52 universe.
After a long time.
A
Right?
while.
I mean,
No,
that was
They
a
left it-
major
I mean,
phase.
that went
right?
on for a while.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it wasn't a Marvel
How
phase.
many?
And they didn't do it like they did. They did another Crisis.
It was about 5
I mean,
years.
you got 5 full story arcs out of
Yeah.
Batman.
You got
Yeah.
Just think of
I
like, the
think
pool
you
of
got
Cosmetics.
Aquaman, Lantern
the new
2.
52 was like 52 months. I mean,
I think
they,
it was.
they
Might have
kinda
been,
hit-
months,
yeah.
yeah.
And they didn't do a ton of crossover things. I know they did like a villain event. They did like one hologram cover event,
Yeah.
and then they did
We had the
they
Lego
did another
covers
Crisis.
at one point.
The Lego covers. Those
Oh, yeah,
were
they-
the
Yeah.
issue 30s.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so they did some cutesy stuff. It wasn't as bad though. But then when they went into Rebirth, not even close. The numbers don't match up at all.
The Rebirth
even-
stuff has. I mean, I bought a lot of Rebirth. They started some interesting things.
There's parts of the
definitely-
story I liked better.
Yeah,
No, there's some nice stories in there, but the thing is, people aren't buying them though. And I'm sure with Rebirth, they did all the extra covers and stuff, and I'm sure these stores had to buy.
Well,
So-
no,
Buckets of
no,
friggin'
no,
books.
no. But the interesting thing about Rebirth, and I think you've got both major companies have differing successes here, but I still prefer the DC approach where they've
Mhm.
they've not, right. You don't gimmicky changing your approach. you always waste time, right? It's context switching. You're wasting time. You're wasting continuity. You're wasting all these different things. Whereas trying to deal with things like the variants, the whole rebirth thing, DC started something that they've largely stuck to that I think is pretty strong. A B cover, and the B cover has been about art, right? The series of artists. It's been, they've even pulled the trade dress back,
guys,
right? And that, to contrast with Marvel's done the 1 in 100, 100, 150.
That's the thing. That's the big difference between the two companies. So DC's running into the Year of the Villain right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a whole sheet of variant covers, but they are on their own individual titles.
Yes.
This isn't Marvel coming out with, hey, we're rebooting Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Here's 100 covers of the same friggin' book.
Yeah.
Star Wars #1.
Everyone who wanted to could make a cover for that book.
One of those
Exactly.
is
It's
abusive of
Fuck
the
Star
market.
Wars. I'm going to start on that. That was a nightmare.
That was ridiculous.
That's abusive of the market. It's abusive of... It just reeks of propping up, like, yes, people are buying them, so clearly they're getting some kind of short-term reward, but it's cannibalistic, right? It is not a healthy thing.
One thing since he just brought up Star Wars, so I am not only a comic book person, I'm a huge Star Wars person.
Yeah.
Very excited when I realized Star Wars was starting back over. It's like, mint, I'm gonna get this book, subscribe to it. I was like, give me whatever covers, I'll take all 3 or 4 covers, wherever it goes. He goes, dude, there's like 95 covers.
I have I have 60.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He shows me the list. He's like, yeah, I got to buy 100 books to get this one. I got to pay $10 a book for this one. I was like, fuck that. I was like, give me #1 and give me like whatever the 1 in 25 is, and then I bought a Han and Leia cover from another website. Yeah. And I was like, and then don't subscribe to anything to me after that because I don't want to fucking deal with this.
The number of Campbell covers that came out of it.
Yeah.
I bought the bundle from the Hall. Yeah. They had the one that ran all the way up through the 1 in 100.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing this.
So many.
So you had someone who was probably going to, I was going to buy a book every month.
Those stories were actually good.
They
right?
weren't bad.
Yeah.
The initial Star Wars run, the Darth Vader run.
The Vader run was good. There was a Maul run and a Mace Windu run there.
Yeah, and I was already out at that point.
Yeah, I read them digitally off a PDF off the internet. I didn't pay for them. So
the Chewie was good. Chewbacca was good. The Han Solo, I can't remember if I read that.
But again, some of those I didn't read all the books. I was cherry picking ones for the covers.
Yeah.
They were also miniseries, which I approve.
I can do 6 issues. Yeah. In and out.
But back to the point. So you had someone who built-in target audience who wanted the book, was very excited to get into these storylines, knew there were going to be some canon. If the movies, when the movies came out, give me. From what the shit they pulled on issue #1, off my list. Never bought another book.
Yeah,
and that's what they're doing. They're turning people off.
Marvel is the biggest offender of that.
Marvel's the worst. Right now, like we were just talking about, so they did the top 10 books for May. DC has 6 out of the 10.
Mm-hmm.
The other 4 are not all Marvel books.
No, Marvel has the 4th slot. That Savage Avengers.
Yeah. No, you have. So here's the thing. So I read another article where they started, they're talking to people who own shops. And the saving grace right now for these small comic shops are things like your Boom Studios. Yeah. Your Power Rangers, your Bill and Ted Save the World, Godzilla. I think they have WWE. Because what they're doing is with their covers is like, yeah, we're going to do some extra covers. But it's like, they're like 1 in 25s. Every now and then you get like a 1 in 50. Like the Mallrats cover for Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, my shop's like, I can't get it. I can't buy that many books. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll eBay that one because I need to have it.
Yeah.
I was able to buy it right from Boom for $4.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
It's like, it was no big deal. But they're not holding these stores hostage. Like, what do you want? Okay, we'll send you the books. No big deal. But there are a lot of people saying like, the Boom stuff's selling real well. The stories are very good. I've only read a couple. I do Power Rangers. I did some Bill and Ted stuff. It's like a different, fresh approach on comics. And there's a lot of smaller publishers now that actually give a fuck if their books are good.
Yeah.
Because they don't have Iron Man to fall back on. They have to write a good book.
I mean, I actually I don't read as much Boom and Dynamite and stuff, but Image has been gold for me for
I read some of the
5
Miller
or 6
stuff
years
too.
now. Which
like Mark Miller.
Yeah.
Or Millar, however.
Yeah.
That Prodigy book was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I've
I've
heard
been
that one.
collecting and I haven't been reading it, but that's a good example. There's
Reborn.
a lot of shorter
The
series.
one he did with Capullo was excellent.
Which one?
Reborn.
Oh yeah, that was
So
really
good.
good. There's he did one, Huck. Did you read that one? It's only
Yeah.
like 4 or
I
6
did, yeah.
issues, something. That was, or maybe 12. I don't know.
Then it came out in the giant format.
Yeah, I
It was
have
him
that.
and but again, that was when I was drawn in by the artist. It was Albuquerque.
Oh yeah, yep.
So I'm looking at the stats that DJ was just bringing up here, and what's fascinating. Now, let's compare and contrast to. Can we all say when X-Men relaunched, that was the absolute apex for the comic industry.
So you're talking like Jim Lee back in the
8 million copies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
one
That was
book.
in 90 or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
91.
That's
Yeah.
to now you're at a point where you can't hit 250,000.
No.
And
Well, but it's a different. Those are not apples to apples. Now you're in a world where you've got Netflix and video games in your hands.
We're going to
You
get
do.
there. We're
Yeah,
definitely going to
okay.
get there. Hold that
you
thought.
do. What's striking to me, even beyond your breakdown between the two companies,
Mhm.
is when you look at this top 10, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 of your top 10 books where Batman is either the main character or one of the main characters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
You look
tells you that, yeah, that's.
You look at your top 5,
Mhm.
there's 3 Schneiders and a Jeff Johns. So it's really around. It's you have 2 creators buttressing this entire industry.
Holding the
right
entire
now.
industry.
But so one of my questions there is those top 5 or those top 10. Where is that in the curve of the overall market, right? Because that's the slice of whichever ones happen to be numerically the top,
Mhm.
right? Batman, as we previously discussed, I think last week, one of the most popular characters in the universe. So it's not surprising that there are more subscribers to Batman type stuff.
Mhm.
How, that doesn't mean that is, 40% of the market in the top 5, right? Is
So-
it 10% or is it 50% in the top 5 or 10? There's a huge difference.
So here's another weird swing in the market. So
Explain the question. A
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I'm just trying to
All right,
follow your thoughts.
so
being the
right.
numbers guy.
What are the numbers on the number 1 issue? We talking on 200,000, 240?
So you go just a deceased 242. So an event book. So you can almost
Okay.
Batman's a key character,
Right.
but you could almost
Right.
exclude the event.
And so
Doomsday Clock, another event book. It goes from 242 down to 117.
okay,
That's in the
and
two
what's
slot.
number 10's numbers?
Number 10's number 78,000.
78,000. So that's what I'm interested
what book is that?
in.
What one was that? What number 10?
Number 10 was Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Oh.
So across the top 10, what do you have? You
You have
get
2 Spider-Man books and 1, 2, 3, 4 Batman specific books.
so are we 800,000 to 1 million across the top
Um,
10?
Give me 1 second because it's a Friday night and I'm doing math in my head.
Yeah. So plus, why he's doing the ad, and you got to think
Yeah.
too is like since most of them are Batman and Spider-Man, you could have not a large chunk, but maybe like a 10% slice of these people buying these books or buying them just because they're Batman and Spider-Man people, whether they're just
Right.
prospecting to see if they can resell it later on, or if there's someone like you who has a deep collection. of Batman.
1.1.
All right. So the point of the question I was trying to get to, but you're clearly right, DJ. But so 1.1 million. What I was trying to get to is that is the overall market of all titles sold during that stat period. Is it 5 million books? Is it 10 million books? Or is it 2 million books? Because that means a lot different when you tell me a bunch of them are Schneiders and a bunch of them are Jeff Johns, right?
Yeah,
Are these
Let me
guys
see if
just
there's a total here.
yeah?
there's not a lot of books being printed or being sold.
No.
They're printing them, but
They're printing them, but they're not selling.
Yeah.
another so like I said, another huge problem too is, for what I've read, is Diamond. All these
Oh, yeah.
shops have to use Diamond now, and Diamond doesn't take care of this shit. You cannot. It's very hard to get a book in good shape now,
Right. Which honestly,
and shit doesn't show up on time.
okay, but at least in terms of the shape, that gets to one of your other points, right?
Yep.
Readers
Don't fucking care.
don't necessarily, or don't care at all, right? Guys who are literally reading it.
Right.
Then there's guys like me where I may never read the paper copy I buy, but but if I, as I'm processing my orders, the runs of books that have, spine ticks and stuff like that are like, oh, this is 9.4 at best. That actually does bug me, and I know it's generally not the guys at our shop, right? Different shops have different,
Sure.
The people shipping
things.
them.
Like I love going to. You ever go to Rubber Chicken in where they in Bellingham?
Yeah.
I went once
Yeah.
when
It's a fun-
Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss was there.
It's a very different kind of.
Oh, that's
shop.
friendly neighborhood. Rubber Chicken's around the corner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
friendly.
yeah.
So,
Down the hill behind like
so
Dairy
the
Queen.
reason I thought of Rubber Chicken is because Jay and the crew there. I love that store, and they got some great,
Their
amazing
sales are
amount of
nuts.
stuff packed in there. Yeah.
When they decide, everything's going to be 50% off.
Oh
Come
yeah.
on.
And they do
From
some
now till
great
12.
like
Wall
leading up
books
to New Year's Eve. It's like
New Year's is
like 80% off or something like that. But the reason I thought of them is so the racks at Rubber Chicken are
holy
packed,
shit.
right? So you can
The
go and
number of books.
find the series you like, and there's going to be stuffed in there. They often have like 30 or 40 deep, and at the point that you're racking that way, those are not gonna keep
No.
keep near mint quality. They're
No.
gonna hit fine pretty quickly.
Those are reading copies.
But those are reading copies. But I love the fact that I can go there and
I
just
can
have
find
a
what I missed.
massive
Yeah.
amount. Right. Yeah.
I could have missed one 2 months ago and it's probably
Yeah.
still on the wall there.
Yeah. And it's fun.
Yeah. But then again, a small store like that, if they're buying 50 of everything, very quickly it could turn real bad.
Well, I'd be interested. It actually, you know what we should do, guys? We should put together a panel of Bedrock, Friendly Neighborhood,
I'd love to
Rubber
get Jack
Chicken,
involved.
do some
Yeah.
and
interview-
Holic Comics.
Go do some
No,
interviews.
not interviews. I want
Get them together.
to, let's take them to dinner, mic them up, and let's talk comic business. We've got our own,
That could
right?
be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because
what's going
each of
on?
those stores are very, very different, handle things differently. They're all, they're all run by good guys with different takes, and I would love to hear them
That's,
talk about this.
that could
We
be-
should actually try to figure that out towards the end of the summer.
Jack would be fascinating. Just go down to Bedrock. He was one of the co-owners of Boston Comic Con.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, he was
See, I
running.
don't even.
So-
I barely know these guys aside from the Hall guys, and
And I've only talked to him briefly about it.
That could be interesting.
I'll pop in there every so often, but this is somebody, that store has been there
for
20 something years. I mean,
Oh,
he's
at
been there
least.
forever,
yeah,
forever and a day. Everybody knows him.
yeah,
He could not have been happier to get rid of that con.
Yeah.
yeah.
It just, the way it's going, and I mean, it was time.
Yeah.
It was just going to break. And we're starting to see the cracks.
Yeah.
And so
So I have two thoughts. One, buy him dinner, or do
alcohol.
something. Or, I mean, we should do that first. But I mean, that's something worth doing because we have an interesting chunk of industry folks here.
and obviously, yeah, because that's a good idea. Because obviously, this whole peaks and valleys of the comedy, we can't fit into an hour like we normally do. So we're actually
Yeah.
skipping over a bunch of stuff. That
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to go back and revisit.
Mhm.
That's a good idea. We should.
No, we never talk about the same thing twice.
Well, we can start. We can make this like a series.
No, I mean,
no,
obviously,
'cause-
we talk
so-
about the same thing
I know,
all the time.
I know, we
Single
talk-
episode.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, it's true because it'd be good to get the actual retailer's perspective because we're looking at it from just the guy going to hit the racks.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to get their, because I've read some, like I said, I've been doing some digging on this week. A lot of comic shops, if they wish they could tell Marvel to go fuck themselves. They really do.
Yeah.
Really do. The smaller publishers seem to be kind of, holding people's interest.
Yeah.
Much so, like, if you had to pick, so all these movies out, Shazam and Avengers making a gazillion dollars and the stuff on TV,
Mhm.
if you had to pick what the top 3 selling graphic novels were last year for holiday season, what would you think they would be? Just give me one. Just give me one of like the top selling graphic trades.
Watchmen.
No, it's the Fable books.
Really?
Fable, like they think like 1, 2, and 4 were like the 3 top selling graphic novels last year. And in that,
Why?
Shout out to Adam Hughes.
I don't know. It's
See, I don't know anything about Fables. Other than
I have the entire run, but just for
Is there a
artwork.
TV show that's been related to
there.
that?
I don't think so, but I know the people who are into it are really, really fucking into it.
It's generally the same people that are into Saga.
But so are they rebuying the trades, or is like that being true is weird to me? Did they re-release new trades with like
I don't know.
remastered
I don't
art?
know.
or
No,
something?
maybe.
But
That's a strange
the other
fact.
two is another huge chunk. I don't have the exact numbers because I didn't do that much work. I'm not fucking crazy or nothing. But another huge chunk of
There were words and no pictures.
Yeah,
It gets
we
me
don't-
hard.
exactly. No, but I guess another huge chunk of the trade business has all been the manga stuff.
Yeah.
It's all the Japanese
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
so you
I see
have Marvel with a
Shout out to Giselle, my manga loving friend,
yes.
who I want to have come on because
that
I
you met at the doctor's office.
yeah
Yeah, we'll have her on with the kids one day.
Shout out Giselle.
Hey Giselle.
So you have this large chunk of the business is trades now. You have Endgame
Yeah.
making $3 billion at the movie theater, but no one's going back to buy the Infinity War trade. Actually, know what they're supposed to be looking at.
Right.
He's on a roll. Let him go.
Yeah.
About 2 seconds, the Germans
We
are going to
left
be
the
invading Pearl
fact
Harbor.
part. Yeah. No, keep going.
No. So the Infinity Gauntlet saga was
Yeah.
not in the top 10.
Yeah,
No.
which is that is
wasn't.
interesting because you would figure
I want to go see what the book's supposed to be.
so that
So that's
proves what you're saying about
outliner
the
aces,
marketing. Yeah.
they thought they were going to suck in kids in this younger audience with these movies. But the thing is,
It doesn't work that way though.
It doesn't. But you have the movies, you have the Shirtless Boy Network shows, you have the Netflix stuff, you have all these other ways to consume superheroes, cartoons, and
Yeah.
video games.
Picking up books is just
Books is not
honestly
on the list.
passé.
It really is.
It's not on the list.
And I don't think honestly, if you talk to somebody at Disney or somebody at Marvel Studios, do they want them going back and reading that Infinity Gauntlet saga?
Nope.
They don't
They
want
really
them reading the
don't.
entire. The whole thing was Thanos trying to impress Death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. That doesn't play well with their shiny toys on screen.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't sell Mousy or
You're not
Death on
marketing,
at
yeah.
parks.
Well, that's
I'm going to
so
burn
like-
down half the
yeah.
universe to impress a woman.
So talking about burning down the universe, you had mentioned something about Liefeld flaming
Oh yeah.
flaming stuff up, and I
There
missed
was
that.
a Twitter storm last week from him where he went back and forth with a few different people and basically just trashed everything and
Scorched
anything
the
about
earth.
DC.
And so I know the name Rob Liefeld. I know I associate him with X-Men and Deadpool and not being
characters
able
with
to
no
draw
feet.
feet. Yeah.
And yes.
But I actually don't know much about.
So Rob Liefeld was one of those, when they had Jim Ween, these guys, one of
Mhm.
these hot Marvel artists, helped create characters.
Pouches, lots and
lots of pouches. So
Throw pouch.
he created the pouches group X Force. So Cable, he created co-creative Cable with I'm going to butcher his name, Fabian Nunzio.
Oh yeah.
Did the X Force stuff, and through New Mutants and all that, created Deadpool.
Okay.
So Deadpool is a hugely popular character. I love Cable. Cable is one of my personal favorites.
Okay.
I love the X Force stuff to the point where they're coming out with the X Force figures. I'm gonna have to actually start buying lines of figures now because I love them so much.
I don't
Mhm.
think "have to" means what you think it means.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see.
We're still working on that whole need and
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Then he was one of the ones that spun off and went over to Image,
Oh right. Yeah.
Mhm.
and
So what are some Image books he
for
was a
Image,
part of?
he did. I know he helped create the villain Chapel in Spawn, who's one of my favorite Spawn villains.
Okay.
He also did. What did he work on? Witchblade? Was Witchblade his?
He may have worked on that. I'm actually looking it up now.
Well, so sorry, I interrupted. He went on a tweet storm, and I heard something about maybe at a summit or of some sort or a panel he ripped into.
What
Either
I saw it as
DC
was it was more of a Twitter tirade
Yeah.
against a couple other fans, just essentially trashing DC, their business model, how they treat employees, everything and anything about
Which is
what's
a
going on. And basically summing it up with DC was just going to be shutting down soon. Was that bad?
Well, why would somebody in a profession do something like that? Right? I mean, now you know my feelings on the evils of and stupidity encouraged by social media and the
Bad.
quick ability to speak without a filter and never be able to filter it again. But this just seems stupid.
He's somebody that's worked for the company before. He has friends that are running the company.
Yeah.
Jim Lee's a co-publisher.
So is he lashing out because of a specific thing? Was he drunk? Is he?
So I know people on the internet think they're bulletproof. And I've seen not just Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld kind of went a little more scorched earth, but I've seen like Jimmy rip people apart. I've seen,
Jimmy Palmiotti?
yep. Oh, he's fucking just killed people that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. That's why I stay
I've
off
seen
the internet
cat
because
rip
I
people
don't know
apart.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Jimmy's at the point in his career. He just doesn't care
Yeah.
anymore. It's like him and Amanda aren't even doing like the big cons anymore. they're showing up at a 5-hour con in New Hampshire. They decided that was going to be their New England stop this year. And it's at a Holiday Inn, and the tickets are like $10, like Southeast New Hampshire Comic-Con.
When?
A Holiday Inn ballroom in October.
That sounds cool.
$10 tickets.
Let's go.
And I already got my tickets, bitch. The entire,
I'm the Chris Davis. When they schedule a con, they just send me tickets.
No, I expect DJ to see these things way before me because he spends more time online than us.
I don't go looking anymore.
No, it was one of Palmiotti's tweets that they were going to be there, and the whole paper film crew, Paul Mont, the whole Frank Thierry, all of them are going to this Holiday Inn ballroom.
My kid loves them.
For 5 hours the weekend of Halloween.
Cool.
So, but no, it's like even those guys, they're doing more of their own creator-owned stuff. If you want to find anything from those guys now, it's generally going to be a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But they have a lot more. I've bought a couple of them. Like Killing Time in America was amazing.
I've never heard of that.
It was a Kickstarter from last year that was so freaking good. The entire premise was there's a small town and I'm going to butcher it, so if you ever hears it, I apologize. Like northern Germany that are still bitter about the war. So once a year, they'll send a group of young adults over to the U.S. to basically go on a killing spree, and they televise it back to the town. They just come out and take out Americans. The book was so good. Wow. But yeah, they have Amanda does a ton of the artwork for it, and she's still doing some of the covers for the big two.
Yeah. I know I've seen her. She did a Batman cover.
She did.
I was going
She'll
through
still
my
pop up
purchase
for some of the
other
B
day.
covers.
Yeah.
You've seen.
I don't know. I just hope that between the movies and the TV shows and the cartoons and the apps and the streaming and all this stuff, I just hope they didn't strip mine the characters down so bad where the comic book industry fails out. Because it's far away, but I would like to be able to buy my grandkids comic books one day and get them into comics.
Well, you don't have to buy them new ones.
That's true.
No, there will always be copies out there, but this has happened with the industry before.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy here. And we've talked about it anecdotally. I don't know if we've touched on it on the pod very much, but all of these cons popping up.
Yeah.
Like you were getting to the saturation point 2 years ago, and then they just invented 12 new ones.
Yeah.
And I think what's driving people, we've talked about Sean and I pairing back. You've started pairing back, DJ. It goes in waves, right?
Yeah.
When we both jumped back in, I can't speak for you, DJ. Sean and I were kind of at the same time. We killed it.
It was your fault, actually.
It was, and it wasn't just, I like Batman. It was far and wide. Yes.
Give me all of it.
It's a lot of it. I mean, they would just start putting stuff in our boxes because they're buying everything else. So
just sneak this in there too.
Yeah. And it's not that now the product has gone down so far that it's not.
Yeah.
It's not worth it anymore. If I'm buying something extra, it's because of an artist on the cover, like the Immortal Hulk series. And that's one of the things that jumped out in that top 10. The writing's been very good. They're doing a nice job with the character, but it's all Alex Ross art.
Yeah.
So you have how many of those 80,000 copies that were sold?
Yeah.
Is because people just love Alex Ross.
Probably at least
70,000
a third. Or
I was going to say, there's at least a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I'm sure a huge part.
Tied just to his
Everything
covers.
he releases sells out in like 2 seconds. So with the detective stuff.
So you can pare this down to people like Batman, Spider-Man, and certain artists.
So it'll be interesting to see once the summer goes through and you have, I think there's one more movie Spider-Man. So once you get into like the fall, maybe see where the numbers are at again and just see if, so Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Avengers made $3 billion. Do Avengers and Captain Marvel books spike?
I love your movie map.
Yeah, once you say it twice, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
I don't know, but $3 billion does not sound right to me.
2.786 or something like that.
Okay.
It's still below Avatar. It didn't take out the number one.
It needs like 35 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would need 300 some million, right?
No, I think
to get to 2.3. He's doing accounting math. He's just rounding.
Okay. All right. Sorry to interrupt. You're on a roll.
No, they're like 35, 40 million away.
Yeah.
Worldwide. Really? For worldwide gross. Yeah.
Oh, from Avatar, not from 3 billion.
No, from Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm hung up.
But to me, 2.8 and 3, it's just easier to say 3.
Yeah.
I round up on that one. But Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
What's a couple $100 million between friends?
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, so we're gonna have to I'm done.
Favorite part of Sean's size.
I'm I am energized by the thought of talking to some retailers.
Yeah,
so
we're going to have to revisit the subject because
love that idea. We should start rallying the troops now.
Yeah, so let's start doing that. Also, I'm working on something for a future episode for end of the summer.
Cool.
So we'll talk about that offline later. Okay, so
speaking of end of the summer,
so speaking of summer, let's stay away from all the superhero stuff.
Yeah,
since we just did that for 55 minutes.
Today, my kids finished grade school and are ready to sit on their asses all summer long.
And my kid finished high school a week and a half ago.
Yep,
Harley finished up today as well.
So it's vacation time. It's vacation season.
Vacation.
Vacation.
You just send them to camp so there's someone else to watch them?
No, I never had camp money.
Yeah.
So I'm not the Chris Davis. Our summer camp was a bounty ball in the middle of the street.
My summer camp was the boys club thing.
Yeah.
Here, go sit by the lake. Widow.
I sat by the lake all summer too, but I lived on the lake.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not the same.
No.
So what do you want to do for top 3 this week, guys? Something vacation-y.
Yeah, vacation-y. I like the idea of vacations, right? It doesn't necessarily summer vacation experiences. I realized when kind of thinking through this, I'm actually not sure the vacations that I thought of are all summer vacations, but to a certain extent, I don't think that matters. Okay. I wanted to think about vacation experiences.
So top 3 vacation experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay. Anyone have any honorable mentions?
I, as usual, I can't remember shit, so I'm certain I'm leaving out a bunch of stuff, but one honorable mention was a number of years ago for my in-laws' 40th wedding anniversary. They took both their daughters, one of whom is my wife, and all our families to Jamaica for a week. And that was really, really cool.
Nice.
And, a different, kind of a family experience that was neat. So that's an honorable mention is somebody else paying for Jamaica.
Somebody else paying is always good. That's going to hit my top 3.
Actually, now I have to alter my top 3 because it made me remember another one. So let me add a second honorable mention.
Please, before I speak.
So I just realized that my list is going to be complete trash compared to you two because no one buys me shit.
Yeah, well, certainly other people paying always helps.
Yours is a doozy, though. Okay, so any honorable mentions, Chris?
He's got one more. I thought he.
Yeah, I've got one more honorable mention.
Shuffling one down at the.
So I'm altering things. So in somewhere in the mid '80s, I was very fortunate to have grandparents that kind of retired from the military early, started a second life as realtors in Colorado, and were really into travel in their retirement. And I was their only grandson, and in fact, the other grandkids were much, much younger. So I got taken a lot of cool places. And one of the places they liked to take me was Hawaii. And one of my earliest big vacation memories was I might have spent 2 weeks in Kauai, which is just
nice,
an incredible place. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that and the memories of flying helicopters down the canyon to the waterfall that was at the beginning of Jurassic Park. This is, 5 or 6 years before Jurassic Park. I incomparable. Like that really shouldn't be an honorable mention, but it's an honorable mention now.
Very cool. Got a couple honorable mentions. One actually, it ties back into the grandparents thing as well. So I was the oldest grandchild in our family. So that tended to be, and everybody was at least 3 to 6 years younger. So if they were going to take somebody by themselves, it tended to be me.
Yeah.
So my grandparents, they retired, not same military, but they worked for Natick Labs and they worked for the military. Yeah. Retired early.
Yep.
Bought a piece of land and put up a prefab down in the Cape.
Cool.
Long before, like when you could still afford a house down the Cape back in the early 80s. So most of it was weekends driving down to Falmouth and spending the weekends down there on the beach with my grandparents and just kind of hanging out at the house doing that.
That's special because it wasn't just one vacation, right? It was an ongoing piece of your life.
It's funny. Yeah. And it's something to this day, every once in a while, I'll take a look at the listings in Falmouth, just see if Pa's house ever comes up.
Oh, yeah.
It did once. And
then did the number make you cry?
What made me cry is knowing that my father at the same time they were building, turned down a lot 2 blocks closer to the beach because he wasn't sure if he wanted to take out the $5,000 loan.
And he could have got fucking $1.5 million for it, probably.
It's my grandfather's prefab house. The last time it sold was like $785.
Fucking crazy.
Right in Falmouth Heights. It's like 3 blocks from the beach. There's a softball field right there. BBC at the end of the street, like right by the Island Queens over there. Yeah, I remember the summers on the Cape before it became insane, and everybody from New York and New Jersey started driving up every weekend. You know,
Jesus Christ.
And my other honorable mention is the first time I remember going to Disney. This will be near and dear to DJ's heart. Not long before they were like, you pretty much had the Polynesian and Contemporary on property, so you didn't stay on property.
Yep.
It was decided to, like, for some reason, I have this vivid memory of going back to the motel. Like, you're talking outdoor entrance to the motel, those stupid little frogs that would stick on the walls of all the hotels there. Where Disney Springs is now, and your riverboat, that was your only character breakfast. Like, you went to Lake Buena Vista.
Yeah.
If you were going to do a character breakfast, and it was one park.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no Epcot. There was no nothing. My brother was probably still in diapers at the time or something. But I distinctly remember the first time going down with my parents and my uncle. It was cool.
Crazy. Okay, I got a couple honorable mentions. So my list is going to be very Disney heavy because that's all I do. But so one thing is when we were kids, we didn't really do a lot of vacations because there was 4 of us and obviously not the cash to do it. So we did a lot of like day trips.
Yeah.
So one thing we used to do a lot of when I was a kid, I remember is during the summer especially, is we used to go up and do Whalen Park and Canopy for days. So you could get in for like...
Love those places.
So that was the day. It's like we'd swing by McDonald's, get like a bag for like 49-cent cheeseburgers, and go up to friggin' Whalen after 5 o'clock. It was like $5 to get in, and just do rides and stuff like that. So that was one. And then another honorable mention, I'm gonna go with time me and my buddy Dan went down to Miami for a Pats game.
Nice.
So we've done a couple away games. One of them would be on my worst vacations list. One of my friends is an asshole, but we went down to Disney, stayed at the place down in Disney, rented the convertible, drove down to Miami for the game, and
nice.
They lost, which sucked, and getting out of there was like a bloodbath. It was like trying to get out of the watch riots.
Ooh.
But we won the Super Bowl that year, so fuck them all. But, so the Miami trip was a good one too.
So my number 3 is one that I think you guys will like, and I may have mentioned it at one point, but I just looked it up to see if my memory was correct. So in the summer of 1983, I went to Epcot Center with my grandparents, just me and those same grandparents, big into timeshares. They had timeshare in Orlando, so we went and stayed in Kissimmee or whatever it's called.
Yep, Kissimmee.
And so Epcot had opened in October of 82. So actually, I should check. I might have gone in October of 82. I need to look this up.
You might have been there for the opening?
But it wouldn't have been for like the actual opening, but I remembered it being like, it was a big deal. And I was in 6th grade, and I did, I was on the 6th grade newspaper. And so I actually went down, so it was during the school year, so it couldn't have been in the summer. So I think it actually was, and it was the year that the Redskins won the Super Bowl.
87.
No. It was...
Oh,
no,
the Doug
they
Williams
won
or the
one.
Mark Rapin?
No, it was
No.
John Riggins.
Riggins.
78?
No, it had to be around
82-ish.
83. I think it was January 83 was or February. Doesn't matter. None of this is important. The point is, I went in the first 6 months of the park opening. I'm almost positive it was before the Super Bowl. Which
83.
83, yeah.
Yeah. So,
83 was Doug Williams.
So I think I went in October, November of 82, right after Epcot had opened. And it was on the news, and the monorail, and the big golf ball.
That's insane.
And it was magical going around, seeing the countries and all the stuff that now is kind of passe, hasn't changed that much. I mean, they've done some cool stuff, but the energy ride with the dinosaurs and Imagination Pavilion was the shit.
Figment and
They had light pens where you could draw in different colors on the screens.
Stuff that just
right?
blew
They were
your mind.
13-inch CRTs and giant corded light pens. But this is in 82, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blew my mind. There was a room with lights shining down from the ceiling on the carpet, and you stepped on different colored lights and they played drum sounds.
Yeah.
And, it was awesome. And it was just me and my grandparents.
Nice.
And not that many. It wasn't that crowded. Because it was fall, and even though it had just opened, it wasn't the craziness.
And it took
that you
a
have
little
today.
while for it to catch on because it wasn't your traditional amusement
Well,
park.
it was
It
weird.
wasn't Disney, you know.
And it was also, a lot of the press was about Walt's vision of it being a community and experimental prototype
community of tomorrow.
Exactly. But it was awesome. So that's my number 3.
Excellent.
Very cool. So my number 3 is going to harken back to Sean's thought on people paying for your vacation. So last year, it's all going to be recency bias with me here.
Yep.
Last year and the last gasp effort to get all of Heather's family back together for one last, so herself, her brother, all the kids, back together for one last family vacation. My in-laws for Christmas gave us all a trip to Alaska. So we did a 10-day Disney cruise to Alaska.
That's cool. So cool.
Very cool. It was always a bucket list kind of thing, wanting to go up there and see that. Like Sean said, it's always better when somebody else is paying, especially to be able to check one of those boxes.
Yep.
And it actually worked out. It may have been the perfect family vacation because you don't have to do much with everybody if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You can choose to do as much as you want.
I'm looking forward.
You'll enjoy it. You reconvene for dinner.
Yeah.
You can all go your own separate ways. We didn't do an excursion for the entire 10 days with anybody else we were traveling with.
Yeah, that's
Heather, I, and Harley did our own thing. And so it actually was a very relaxing, enjoyable vacation. And
nice.
to throw DJ a bone, before we got on the boat, we went to Funko headquarters.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's right. Yeah.
Went the day.
Nice.
Went to Everett just to check out the giant pop figures on top of the warehouse.
I would do the exact same thing.
Yep.
Nice. What about you, DJ?
Nice. So my number 3 is back to when I was a kid. My great uncle Bob, my grandfather's brother, had a place on the Cape, and every 3 years he'd rotate through the siblings. So we get to go to the Cape every couple of years, and it was right on the water. But there was one year in particular. I remember we had just got my new puppy Rufus. He was a Rottweiler.
Oh, I like that name.
Oh yeah, he was the best. We actually, it sucked. We ended up having to give him away when we moved because that's just how my life went growing up. It fucking sucked. But it was. I remember me, one of my friends came with, and basically it was just me the entire week, just hanging out on the beach with my fucking dog. I just got this new puppy. He was maybe 4 or 5 months old,
Having
little
a
thing,
blast.
and just had a blast on the beach with the dog. And I'm a huge dog person, and after him, I didn't really have my own dog until I got Chewy a couple years ago. So that was a big gap. But clam digging, and you always ate real good.
Yep.
I couldn't eat
going
all
down
the
Cohogging and
I couldn't eat all the seafood stuff because I was allergic to it, which sucks. But there's plenty of hamburgers, which was good for me, and chicken fingers and shit. But yeah, that was probably the best. And we actually, I don't know where it is. It's on a VHS tape somewhere at the house. There was we had someone had a handy cam that year when they started coming out. So
Yeah.
I actually got some video of me and my dog when I was a kid. So that was cool. I was like,
awesome.
That's really cool.
yeah, I think I was in 7th, 8th grade or something like that. So that was a big one.
You got to thank you. You just brought back a whole flood of good memories of me and my grandfather.
Yeah,
That's cool.
those were good times. So
That's awesome. My number 2 is relatively recent. I think it's been 2 years ago now, but Jen and I had talked about doing this for a long time, and we flew with the girls down to Phoenix. Spent a little time with my uncle down there. It was a really nice place and pool and stuff, and then drove up through, saw the Grand Canyon. Went through some hot springs in Colorado, met up with my mom and stepdad, and drove to Colorado Springs. We got to do all, I love Southwest, big sky, dry road trip. I'd never seen the Grand Canyon from the south side, which was really, really cool. The whole experience was really cool. The worst part was, one of the things I'd hoped to do, this is when the girls are at that point 9 and 11 or something like that, was take him to see my grandparents, who they hadn't seen since they were very, 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 very little. In fact, my grandfather already passed away at this point. My grandmother died right before we went on the trip. So we ended, instead of seeing her, we actually all were able to go to her funeral, which was, not the best thing, but it still was a really great 2 weeks. We took time, so we didn't really have to rush.
That's key. The days.
And so I loved, I wish I could do more of that.
Nice.
Very cool. And you always hit on the same themes that I'm going to. These longer. So the next two that I'm going to talk about are both 2 week type, the stretches that I was actually able to pull myself away for multiple weeks. And this one, my number two is probably the busiest I've been at work at the same time being on vacation. So going back to 2013, I'm kind of broken if I'm going someplace that I've always wanted to, that I think maybe a one-time shot, I try to cram in as much as humanly possible in these things.
Yeah.
So Harley was finally old enough. She was 4 years old, finally old enough to take her overseas. In our mind, she could handle the trip and being bounced around for the couple weeks. Heather's stepfather is of Scottish descent. He was selling the family's house in northern Scotland and wanted us to see the family house before it was finally gone. So we agreed to do it. It ended up being a 2 week trip.
Yeah.
Started in London, working our way up through the UK into Scotland, crammed as much as humanly possible into these 2 weeks. Got to go, took Harley to the London Eye and went to see Tower Bridge and Lion King in London. Got to see Clapton at Royal Albert.
Oh, jeez.
He happened to be in town that week. It kind of married up. Clapton's by far my favorite musician.
Yeah.
I love golf. We went up and played St. Andrews, and we played the Belfry. And
played St. Andrews?
I got to play the Old Course and the Jubilee when we were there.
Oh, man.
And I would move to Scotland in a heartbeat. I would go back this second. And it's weird. It was a bunch of tentpole type experiences at the same time. My company was being sold.
Yeah.
We'd planned the trip a year before, and it happened to be right in the middle of diligence. So every night when the family was going to bed, I was on calls backyard to get on at 2 a.m. or something, 3 a.m. to start up the call. So I was exhausted for 2 weeks, but it was a lot of disconnect time out in the countryside. You didn't have a lot of cell service. You didn't have internet. You weren't worried about anything else. It was just spending time with the family and knocking off some of those experiences.
Nice.
That's cool.
My number two is the complete opposite. It's trying to cram everything in over like 5 days. So when I took, you were there too, Chris. When I took my brother Zach to WrestleMania a few years ago in Orlando.
Oh, yes.
It was one of those things where he never thought you'd get to go. He never thought he'd get to go. He could never afford to go. And I just bit the bullet one year. I got a bonus. I was like, fuck it, we're going. But it just, it made it worth being tired. Got off the plane, rushed right over, boom, Hulk Hogan at his beat shop.
Nice.
Went over to the Walgreens right next door to get waters and stuff for the hotel room. And I'm in line and I'm behind, Jim Ross and Ricky Steamboat. And it was just like,
that's awesome.
You knew it was going to be that kind of week, and it just never ended. We bumped into everybody. We went to NXT TakeOver. We went to Mania. We went, got up at 4 a.m. to go meet Dolph Ziggler. It was an insane week. Snuck a couple of Disney days in there, obviously, because we're in Orlando. And so that was just a good trip, because it's one of those things where it's like, I was able to pull it off, which was a good thing.
That's very cool.
That's awesome. So my number one, which in true bad memory fashion wasn't even on my list or honorable mentions until you talked about other people paying for things.
I believe you talked about that first.
Yeah, or one of us. You remarked on it.
Yeah.
Was so the company I've been working for quite a while. When I started with it, it was in its relatively early days. My dad had been working for it for a few years, but they used to, every year or two, take the whole company and their families on, some kind of trip, paid for by the founders, and I went on one with my dad. At one point, my dad and 2 of my brothers worked for the company. Now, me and one of my brothers works for the company. Okay. But at this particular time, I think this might have been 6 or 7 years ago, went to Grand Cayman right?
Oh, nice.
Chartered planes, go down there for 4 or 5 days, and my dad's there, and one of my brothers. So it was also like a family thing.
Okay.
Grand Cayman was fantastic. Staying right on 7 Mile Beach, got both a pool and bath water temperature ocean. That's like 4 feet deep, out 50, 60 yards from the beach. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I don't like ocean and sand, but that temperature water and everything. Plus, I could go in the pool. All I could drink up. Poolside bar service, just fantastic rooms, massive outdoor company breakfast every day. Just a really good time. Got to play golf with my dad and one of the head guys of the company and his son. And I haven't been able to play golf with my dad many times. That was fantastic. But the only regret is that they offered to let you extend for another couple days. You
didn't
paying
stick
for
around?
yourself. We didn't do it because this is one of the first times we went away from the kids, and so we're like, and maybe the only real regret of our lives in the last since we've been together is
Meeting me?
we should have. No, that's not regret, but we should have extended because it really was just an incredible vacation. The fact that the kids weren't there maybe tells me something, but
You
but in
need some of
terms
those times by
relaxation,
yourself. Yeah,
right,
it's-
that was,
Adult
You
vacation.
do. You need the break every
Yeah.
once in a while.
Nice.
yeah.
Cool. So my number one, it kind of dovetails off of the last one. So my number two is all about when we were selling the company.
Yeah.
My number one is right after the company had sold and
Yeah.
right after I was let go from the company.
Right, yeah.
So the reality is, in any of these, just with the nature of my job, if company sells, I'm going to be there for a period of time and then I will
And then
be
you go away.
gracefully
Yeah.
ushered out and, the guy who bought it takes over,
Yeah.
which is fine. So we had planned in 2015, we had planned a trip to Alani. We had saved as
Okay.
a DVC guy.
Yep.
Appreciate we saved up the points for a couple of years and we're going to blow it out.
Is.
Disney's DVC resort
In Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't even
Just
know there
outside
was
of
one.
Honolulu.
Oh, it's
gorgeous.
fucking
Yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a vacancy rate of like 0.01 for the entire year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's one of those you book like the year in advance.
Yeah.
So we had planned to do 8 days down in Alani. So then it became this little it was kind of building blocks. So then it's like, you know what? She's only 6.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot to try to go 13 hours straight. So,
So I go to California.
all right. So we'll do a few days at Disneyland.
Ah.
So we tacked on a couple nights. We're going to do days in the park and do that. Once we did that, then it's like, oh shit. You know what's right before we get there? It's like, no, like San Diego Comic-Con. So we said, screw it, and went on Craigslist and found people that were selling tickets, met a nice young Asian girl in a Starbucks parking lot in like northern San Diego to pick up. Her name was Sally Wong. She had gotten the ticket for
Such a fake
Yeah.
Asian
It-
Craigslist
no,
name,
my
doesn't
God,
it?
no. It's even better because she had to register the
Oh, you
child
told me
ticket,
that.
Yes. Yes.
and so Harley became Wong Child, which is priceless.
I
and
hope you kept the
I
lanyards.
go, I
for
have the
that,
lanyards
yeah.
in my office. It's amazing.
Harley,
So
you've always been the Wong child.
it became this just like building blocks. Like all the dates just happened to fall, and it was just the three of us. Nobody else flew into
Yeah.
San Diego. We did one day at the con, drove up to Anaheim.
Man.
It ended up, this will be another thing DJ likes. We walked into Disneyland's 60th anniversary not knowing
Oh,
the anniversary was
yeah.
happening that weekend. So there was all the crazy people buying all the shit and all that. You couldn't move. We hid in California Adventure for most of it.
Yeah.
Like the kid actually asked to leave Disneyland. It was too busy.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I don't want to be in here. Can we go back to the hotel? Can we go
Yeah.
across the way? And no, right off to Hawaii. And it was just,
Nice.
it was a great family vacation. It was like a little adventure.
Yeah.
And you just kind of went and did whatever. And it was just the three of us doing it. Just good family time,
Nice.
running around and giving her some experiences.
Nice. If I ever get laid off, my vacation trip is going to be me going under a bridge eating cream corn out of a can with my hands because I can't.
There's some
Well, they-
days where that doesn't sound so bad.
No,
but-
and when you get laid off after the sale, they need you to stick around to do the
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, that trip was more the reward to myself. Like, hey, I'm going to be jobless for a little. So
Mm.
figure it out.
Wow.
Awesome.
So once again, like I said, I can't compare to you guys' vacation list at all. So my number one is Disney related, obviously, because that's all we do. I think since my kid's been alive, that's all we've done. So I kind of got like a 1A, 1B. So
Oh, what?
I like it.
1A, 1B. So
None of us have cheated yet. This is good.
So the best vacation we had was, I want to say it was 3 years ago or something like that.
Mhm.
We did the 14-dayer.
Mhm.
Went down to Florida, took 2 weeks off from work, did a couple days over at Universal so the girls could do Harry Potter Land. We stayed at Cocoa Bay or whatever it is, or
I stayed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's where we
Yeah,
stayed.
yeah.
which is like
I like
their
that
value
place.
hotel. Fucking awesome hotel. Gorgeous hotel.
Never stayed over there.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
that's not the one I stayed at.
Yeah,
but
it's like the one that's like
I say the one with the plane crashed and it's all big Hawaiian themed or Pacific themed.
oh no you stayed at the
I don't.
the Royal Pacific.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
where
other
we
one,
stayed,
Portofino or
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
some Italian theme
yeah.
thing.
So you
Yeah.
stayed at the third of the three.
I said
Got
that,
it.
yeah, I stayed at the
Okay.
cheapo one because I was like, I'm not used to paying for a hotel, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm staying at the cheap one.
Mhm.
But it worked out good. It was very nice. We just stayed there so we could get the early access Harry Potter land.
Yeah.
So we did that. We were there for like I want to say 3 days,
Mhm.
and then we went to freaking Disney World for like 12 days.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
so cool.
That's the way to do it. Other than the brand new car that you're paying in tickets.
Well, it's
So
actually
there was 3 of you, right?
there was only 3 of us, and actually when you go that long, it's not that bad. Because here's the thing:
Once you get by day 4, or
once you get
something.
by day 4, to tack on a day, it's like the next day $7, and then it's
Yeah.
$4.
Yeah, it's almost.
Oh.
By the
free.
time you're tacking on days 10 through 13, it's like $1 a day.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So that's
matter.
really once you.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take the big bite, doing longer is far, far better.
Yeah, I think the
Yes.
difference between a 6-day ticket and an 11-day ticket was maybe like $43 a person
Right. Okay.
or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
negligible.
It's insane.
Big scheme.
it was nothing. But we had unfortunately gotten into a car accident a while before.
Oh shit.
I got T-boned on Lincoln Street by some asshole playing on his GPS. So luckily we were okay. I think it was right after Athena's concussion, so we were worried, but she ended up being okay. So that's why but when I had the money come in,
Yeah.
I'm like, look, the car's getting paid off. Oh, she's she needs a fucking break. She just got hurt at
Mm-hmm.
with the concussion, and then we had the car accident. I was like, let's extend out. So we ended up extending out the week before to go to Universal and stuff,
Nice.
and use the
Sweet.
points to extend out. So I was like, let's take 2 weeks, and it was 2 weeks where I think we did dining plans. We were eating wicked good dinners every night.
Mhm.
I'm like walking around with cocktails in Epcot. I think that was the year. I think we were there for Food and Wine, and I did all 85 beers
So much
at Food and Wine
man.
over like 2 days. Yeah, it was nice.
Wow.
Yeah, well, like most of them are flights and stuff. I'm not doing like.
Yeah. Still, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's back.
You actually could hear his liver weep there for a moment.
Oh no, that was super fat DJ too, so my liver was good to go. But,
Oh, okay. He had more body mass.
exactly, yeah. It took but that was a great trip. It was because it was an actual vacation.
Yeah.
That's the key. If you can disconnect,
Yeah.
that's
One that was very memorable wasn't an actual vacation because, like Chris said, if you're going to go back, you try to cram everything in. Was the first year we took Athena to Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't DVC yet. We actually it made me buy the damn thing because we stayed at All Star Movies and it was a fucking shit show.
yeah. I heard it can be tough.
It sucked, but nothing. No matter whether it was 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, I think we did 6 days, right? Whatever it was, no matter what you eat, no matter how busy it was, the lines, nothing beats that moment when your kid first walks down Main Street and sees the castle for the first time.
Yeah.
Because she did her research. She was 5 and she's watching Travel Channel things and reading freaking like the Brahms guides and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She had everything planned out. And it was one of those things where she knew what was coming. We walked to Magic Kingdom. She's like, hey, Disney World, here we go. And she just gets stopped right in her tracks. And has no idea what's going to hit her.
Mm-hmm.
And since that trip too, the moment we got done with that trip, she's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And since she's been 6, she's been on a mechanical engineering path on her own, with no push.
Yeah.
Which is she hasn't read books. She's read Marty Sklar's biography like 3 times.
That's
So
ridiculous.
it's just that was the thing. So that was a good trip too. So.
That's these things actually have helped. This is the first bit I've sat and relaxed, not just because we're sitting talking,
Yeah.
but I know we're going long, but hearing about vacations and particularly hearing about the longer ones and your approach, it's actually relaxed me for the first time in a while.
As we're sitting here, and I'm thinking specifically about the travels you have coming up and
Yeah.
what the two of us always do, and everything's work related.
Yeah.
And you're trying to squeeze us in. When I'm looking back on my top 3, it's all the times I was able to disconnect.
Yeah.
Either I wasn't working during one. It
Yeah.
had just happened. Or I was on a ship when I couldn't be in contact with
Yep.
anybody for
Yep.
10
Yeah.
days. Or I was in Scottish country, somewhere
I
where you
know.
had no
Two of
sig-
mine predated the idea of not disconnecting when you travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
funny how your brain goes that way, though. They're all recently biased, and it's all the times where I was able to get away from the other bullshit.
Yeah, and I've realized too, like
Truly get away.
I need
Yeah.
to take some where like actual vacations, like not Disney stuff, which we're gonna do once the kids out of college. We've talked about me.
Six Flags is fun in some of the spots.
Fuck that. You couldn't pay me to go to Six Flags. As a guy who could never fit on their rides, I can now, but fuck them. You know, get
One
my,
guy flies off a roller coaster and he never goes back.
I'm not a big Six Flags fan.
No,
'cause I don't
they-
like
they-
roller coasters,
Oh,
and
coasters.
they
they
spray the freaking
bought
ground
my
black.
my
I
old
love
where I used to
Riverside?
work. No, where I used to work in Vallejo, California.
Vallejo.
Used to be started out at Redwood City, moved up to Vallejo, California. Marine World Africa, USA is where I worked for several
That's right.
years.
Yeah, and they turned it to Six.
Maybe
Six
we
Flags.
never talked about
No,
that.
we did.
No, we
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
A couple
No,
times,
it just, since we're running long anyways, did you guys happen to see the ride that Mark Bernardin and a bunch of other people were posting?
No.
This gyro
Oh,
drop.
that's fake,
Oh.
right? That has to be.
I don't
fake.
know.
There's
It's
no
it's
way in
nightmare
hell-
fuel if it's
Yeah,
real.
no.
No.
There's
It is
no way.
nightmare
That's
fuel.
somebody doing CGI.
Somebody
There's
said
no,
that the swing part was fake. You can't have
it's
it
all
extended.
fake. No. That
When it
the
started
mechanically
hemorrhaging
what they showed-
people, dropping.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
can't. You cannot make a pillar with
Yeah.
that much weight to it rise at
yeah,
that
no,
speed.
no,
you
There's
can't
no
have it
fucking
run.
way.
Nothing
No.
about that.
It's-
It was imaginative and fun to watch.
It made me freeze in my
but
tracks. For a
no,
second,
there's
like,
there's no
okay,
way
you might
that
have
is
created
real.
one that I actually won't go on.
No, no.
I'll go on anyway.
I see the fucking
But-
Space Needle one at Vegas, and I'm like, nope.
Oh, I
not
did
doing
that
it.
one.
Yeah,
Nope, fuck that.
Scared shit was the first time, and then got right back in line.
yeah, no.
But no.
Space Mountain is actually a little much for
I
me.
won't do the one that swings over the edge off the
Yeah,
stratosphere.
no.
Yeah, no,
thanks. Yeah.
fuck that.
What is that, Vertigo or whatever the hell that thing
Yeah.
is? No.
No, it's one of those things too. Where
For to not go.
yeah, exactly. As we talk about vacations, so we've taken some little trips together and
Yeah.
done some stuff, like some Kevin shit.
Yeah,
We need to find a way to do like a vacation, whether it's we do the three of us and go do what Sean was talking
Yeah.
about, go hit Disney and do like drink reviews and ride reviews and park reviews and stuff like that, or whether we even take the wives and stuff and go do something somewhere.
Notice the lack of enthusiasm when you get to the second option.
No, I want to do that too. No, we can do that.
I definitely would like to do some things as a team, families, and
Certainly.
without
Yeah.
families.
It's gonna take some time.
We
to
may
put together,
we may have
obviously.
to build up to that, but definitely we do need to. Yeah, I know. At some point, there's going to be a reboot premiere. We need to figure out,
Yep.
where
Something
we're.
this fall, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That has to happen.
I'm totally in.
Excellent. If we do go to California for that, we got to sneak into Disneyland.
Yeah, well, I'm not being I still don't understand this DVC thing. So at some point, we'll have to talk about that. But
We can do a
We
DVC
can walk you
episode.
through that. Most definitely.
DVC episode.
Be a good episode.
Shit, I'll bring my brother on too. You two peas in a pod. You probably know all the same people.
Want to talk about going along?
Oh, God.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
let's wrap this up. So, Sean had Epcot Center when it opened,
Mm-hmm.
the Phoenix, Colorado Springs trip, and the trip to Grand Cayman that he didn't pay for.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Chris had the last cruise that he didn't pay for, the Scotland trip,
He paid for it.
and being unemployed and going to Hawaii and San Diego Comic Con.
Oh,
Unemployed is so
I'm
good.
Chris Davis. I spend more money when I'm unemployed.
I know, seriously.
Eat a dick.
How do you think you got to Grand Cayman?
Exactly.
Oh,
Hey,
I think number 3, I went the Cape trips we used to take when I was a kid at my uncle's Cape House, the trip to WrestleMania from Brother Zach, and the Disney trips. The 2-weeker we took, which was great, which I need to do again, and the first time we took the kid.
Nice.
Very
So, yeah. So thanks
Happy
for listening.
summer, folks.
Happy summer, everyone.
Happy summer.
So everyone,
Safe travels, Sean.
thanks for listening. Yeah, Sean, have a good trip. You can hit us up on Twitter at FMen37. We are now on iHeartRadio.
Yay, we're with Seacrest.
Yay! So if you, for some people, iHeartRadio is open at work for some people.
Oh.
So that might be a way to listen to us at work if you want.
Yep.
Pad them numbers. And we got a poll out on Twitter right now. Probably it will be open until next Friday. This will post over the weekend. So tag a friend who might like us. Give us a top 3 list, and I'll be sending out a mystery Star Wars Funko Pop. This will not be a common. This will be some type of exclusive. There will be a sticker on
An
it.
exclusive. Funko Pop.
Yeah, so I'll send that out. We'll close up
I've
on
already
Friday, and
seen
then I'll send it out.
submissions come in on
Yep,
Twitter.
we got a couple in, so
while
we got
we've
some
been
good ideas.
recording.
So feel free to hop in the fray.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening, everyone. Everyone have a good night and happy summer.
Have a
Happy
great week,
summer.
guys.